This guy has had previous arrests, and you can see his mugshot. Look at his mugshot, doing all-seeing eye symbolism, doing what is called the serpent's tongue. Maybe you've seen a lot of celebrities do this. It's called the serpent's tongue.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
Okay, so I'm at the Octavia Lab. Today is July, wrong month. This is July the 13th, 2024, and I will not be at the Santa Monica Pier today protesting gang stalking, no vaccines. I'm so sorry about that. Everybody else is putting the old documentaries that they can find dealing with gang stalking, direct energy weapons, and mind control technology. They're all putting these old documentaries and these old podcasts on YouTube. So I might as well do the same thing. So, Andre, I will not be able to see you at the Santa Monica Pier today. I'm so sorry about that. If you show up to the Santa Monica Pier tomorrow, July the 14th, 2024, I most likely see you there. Like I said before, I am your mom, and I love you, and I miss you, and I care about you a lot. But I'm getting sick and tired of these chosen ones lying to you, these chosen ones. And people mixing gang stalking, religion, gang stalking, and spirituality. People mixing gang stalking with the supernatural, paranormal, and the metaphysical. All that stuff is a psychological operation campaign against you to make you, the real gang stalking victim, look stupid to your family, your friends, and your potential allies. Like I said before, gang stalking is a part of COINTELPRO, modified for the new age. It's a modified version of what they did in the Stasi, the West Germany, Stasi, the Soviet Union, KGB, and the NKVD, what they did with the Nazis over in Nazi Germany. This is just another version of MK Ultra, expanded for the masses, So we need people who know about these direct energy weapons and these mind control technologies come out. We need whistleblowers, engineers, scientists, doctors who work at, Northrop Grumman, DARPA, Raytheon. Ignore that chosen one crap. Anybody mixing gang stalking with religion and spirituality, that's a lie. We need the doctors, the lawyers, the whistleblowers, the activists inside these defense contractor companies to come out and tell us how to stop these mind control technologies. What do we need to remove us from this? They call it the beast system. I think that's a stupid name, but that's what they call it. What do you call it? Hold on, what do you call it? The private investigator, Roger Tolis, he talked about it. The security contractor, the former security contractor, Brian Confron. People say that's not even his real name, and that's what he goes by. Brian Confron talked about it. Brian 2, a lot of people say Brian 2 was fake, but a lot of stuff that Brian 2 talked about in the past, and a lot of his videos talking about that real truth got deleted. The stuff that Ted Gunderson, the former top cop of Los Angeles County, Ted Gunderson, the former highest-ranking law enforcement officer in Los Angeles County, talked about. The former Army intelligence officer Cynthia McKinney talked about. Former NSA analyst Karen Stewart talked about. All these people were talking about the same thing. They wasn't talking about no gosh darn chosen one, okay? There's a pattern. Even though Targeted Justice, and I don't like that website, Targeted Justice sued the United States government. They lost that lawsuit in 2023, but they sued the government. So this mind control technology and this gang stalking with these direct energy weapons have a foothold in reality. But you see on these social media websites like YouTube and TikTok and the rest of them, they want to talk about some dumbass chosen one. We all know there ain't no chosen one stuff. That chosen one stuff is not real. I mean, they can't even stop the Javelin missiles in Israel and Ukraine. Come on. So we all know that crap. And a lot of these chosen ones and these gang stalkers talking about religion and spirituality sticking their tongues out the camera, and we all know what that tongue thing actually means. Well, conspiracy theories dealing with the tongue thing, we all know what that means. I don't put that in that video, but here it is. This is a video talking about mind control technology. It's old. It needs to be updated. All right. Peace. I love you, Andre. Have a good day. Hopefully you enjoyed the content. I will see you at the Santa Monica Pier soon. Tomorrow, most likely. All right. And if I owe you money, I will give you your money Monday. I love you guys. Love you, Mom and Dad. Love you, Galen. Love you, Andre. Most definitely, I do love you. All right. And I miss you all the time, Andre. Peace.
simply kill me.
You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is Luca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the
All
resistance.
systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom. Here we go, guys. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.FM network. Another Sunday, another show, another day on this planet. And as I said, when I took this commitment to be on the air, something that really I didn't see it coming, I didn't really look for it, I took it as an opportunity to have a microphone, or even better, a megaphone in this case, to try to scream to humanity, to anybody who's listening, not just to the local audience of K-Talks, but also through the internet, around the world, that humanity, it is under attack. We are under attack. I don't care if you are from America or from France, Italy, we're all under the same type of global tyranny plan. Now, look around. It's happening everywhere. Things that normally 40, 50 years ago, even things weren't perfect, but you could never imagine. Now we have a class of, I don't even want to call it humanity, because for me they're kind of like devils, but let's say a class of them, an elite, they can get away with almost everything they want. They can commit crime in plain view. They can destroy the Pentagon in plain view. They can bring down towers in plain view. They can assassinate people in plain view. They can commit crimes like, for example, Hillary Clinton in plain view, and nothing really happens to them. I wonder sometimes if really it is true that they are using, the elite is using the science, technology to control the masses. And I already talked to you about many times, bringing different proofs and evidence that we know that through education that I call mass re-education, the school system is not about educating, but it's about programming your mind. Of course, that's part of the plan. The television is another instrument patented as a mind control. We know that. Food, all this GMO and this aspartame destroy probably your brain. But there is much more, I believe. There is much more. Of course, the estrogen in the meat, is going to make you completely like, no more a man. But that's another story. I really believe that they are using, and there are proofs and evidence. That's why when I bring you things on the show, I don't talk about opinions. I don't talk about feelings. Always talk about things that I can prove. And it's been proven that in the last 40, 50 years at least, not just the US government, but many governments. But in this case, we will talk about this government, what's supposed to be our government in America, is been using technology to mind control civilians or even in military operations. And we have declassified documents. Now, I will bring with you today two guests, people that, one man that I know very well, has been, for me, a brother in freedom. I met him in 2014 at the Bundys. So in case we disappear one of each other, just because we exercise our First Amendment, you know what happened. His name is Ken Rhodes. He's been also on my show several times. Then there's another gentleman that Ken is bringing with him to try to help us out, to try to help me out, to bring you facts. Now, you listeners, you can do whatever you want with this information. I'm not even asking you to believe it or not. If you want to, turn the radio off. If you think this is a laughable matter, I couldn't care less. But if you're a human being who is concerned of what's going on and wants to find answers, why this is happening, why are we letting this happen? I mean, our founding fathers probably they would have been revolted way before. We never. I mean, are you kidding me? King George couldn't get away with all the stuff this Congress and this man acting as a president is doing, and the man before him. Okay, so there must be something. And today I really want to touch the angle that I really will believe that some of us, but many of us, we are already under mind control. Ken Rhodes, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Lieutenant. I want to thank you for having us on the show.
Thank you. You're welcome. Please introduce. I would like to introduce your friend. Introduce yourself. please. I don't want to destroy your last name. I'm always so good about forgetting last names. Go ahead, please, Dave.
Okay, my name is David Brinsko, and I am in Buffalo, New York right now. I'm talking, and I really appreciate the time that you're giving us on your broadcast, Luca. And I hope that we can come to, a good consensus before the end of this broadcast.
Yes, and as I said, I'm not here to convince anybody, because at this point, the evidence is out there. It's about for the listeners, for humanity, to decide if they have the courage to find the truth. The truth is out there. They need to just to look for it, and we try to help them out. That's it. Now, Ken, where are you calling from, Ken? Are you from Michigan right now?
Yes, I'm in Michigan right now. I just got back from Burns a few days ago, but I'm in Michigan now.
Okay, so we have Ken from Michigan, and we have Dave from New York State. Now, let's introduce, before we go ahead, because I'm going to ask you, you're probably going to do most of the talk here, okay? I ask some questions, of course. I wanted to play a short little video that I found online, that I think it says some very important names and keywords that I'm sure you already know, but maybe the listeners, they are not aware. I wanted to play that. It's about 4 minutes, and then we can start with questions, and you can start to bring your own cases and evidence. Okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, let me play this. This is about called CIA Microwave Weapons, Mind Control, and a Secret Dirty War. Here we go. The New Phoenix Program.
The Vietnam War was the formative experience for a generation of CIA and military intelligence personnel involved in the Phoenix program. They viewed the military defeat in Vietnam as a betrayal on the home front, a loss of will by domestic political enemies, not a military failure against a nationalistic revolution fought as a guerrilla war. The Phoenix program, assassinating suspected VC sympathizers in a systematic manner, worked well and is the blueprint for the current black operation targeting thousands of loyal Americans using state-of-the-art microwave and radio frequency radiation weapons. The motivation to suppress domestic dissidents and to assassinate loyal American opposition stems from the perception of dissent against the war as treason. This philosophy is stated very clearly in the Mind War paper written by Michael Aquino. The Department of Defense has a huge stake in futuristic technology that kills by ionizing and non-ionizing radiation, leaving little or no trace. The indiscriminate killing of the Phoenix program continues on American soil. The terms soft kill, slow kill, and silent kill refer to the new way of killing the enemy in conflicts short of war and the small wars of the future. The counterinsurgency doctrine has now been applied to the home front so that the perceived betrayal of the military in Vietnam will not be repeated. The generation of CIA and military intelligence led by Shackley, Helms, Casey, Singlab, Secord, John B. Alexander, Michael Aquino, Paul Vallely, and others have built the perfect beast, using selective assassination that leaves no trace. The ability to cull the human herd with silent kill technology allows a few personalities to remake the entire society in their own image. Extremely low frequency technology slowly drives the target crazy with silent sound, similar to the CIA MKUltra psychiatrist Ewan Cameron's psychic driving technique used to break down the target's personality. The new buzzwords at the Pentagon are synthetic telepathy and psychotronics. Another means of attack on targets is the Smirnov patent that uses subliminal suggestion to manipulate human behavior. This patent was purchased by the remote viewing company Cytec Corporation. Military intelligence officers involved in developing these non-lethal weapons also controls SciTech. Emotional manipulation is accomplished using Dr. Michael Persinger's work to remotely project emotional states that the brain entrains or locks onto and emulates. One can broadcast rage or fear at an individual target to manipulate and control them. As if these methods were not enough to torture and murder people, add to this nightmarish toolbox active gang stalking. CIA-created cults and other cause-oriented groups are used by actively harassing them in public in a neutralization technique described in counterintelligence operations manuals that are aimed at enemy agents. In the race to develop a new weapon, it has always been necessary to test it on human beings. Perfecting the latest weapons designed to kill slowly and silently, as well as perfecting the process of controlling the human mind, are no different. Once the weaponry has been perfected on these few thousand people, the same techniques will be applied en masse to the general population and then to humanity as a whole.
Okay, guys, are you still there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, what do you think?
Dave,
What do you think? Is out of lunch this person, or you think he's bringing some real facts and evidence? What's your opinion?
no. He's bringing real facts and evidence. And Dave will talk about the DOD directive because that fits right into what they were saying.
Okay, let's start with Dave. Dave, I give you the floor. Think about you're talking to anybody who's listening now on the air, but also in the future. I will upload this on YouTube. And I want to be sure this is on record. Because why I'm doing this? Because I want to be sure that some of us on record, we are talking about, we are in the March 2016, exactly the 13th of March, okay? We were aware of what's going on, and we tried to warn humanity. And I hope in the future, when they listen to this message, we have won this battle. But meanwhile, we need to put it out. So I give you the microphone. Dave, you make your case. I ask you please to bring as much evidence that we can talk about it. So the good people, the good listeners, that they have a good heart, but they're still ignorant. It means they don't know the facts. I'm not trying to bring them down. They can do their researches, and I hopefully when they find out that this is true, the only thing I ask, to wake up your fellow human, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your son, your neighbor. That's the only way we're going to stop this evil. We need to know the truth, what they're doing to us. Here we go, Dave. You got the microphone. I'll shut up. Go ahead.
Okay. You said something a couple of minutes ago, and I'm going to say the same exact thing, you see. First of all, I want to say I've been an activist since I was 17 years old. I consider myself a researcher. I also consider myself a minister of the gospel, and I am a ordained elder in the Seventh-day Adventist Worldwide Church. And what I'm about to say, I'm not asking anyone to believe what I'm saying. I just want them to remember what I'm saying. If they can do that, at some point, they're going to find out more and more and more. And just like Kenny and I were talking, people will come up to us maybe 5, 6, 7 years later and say, I thought you were crazy when you were talking about things like this, but now I know that you were telling the truth. And it's going to come out. My thing is, I'm just hoping that it's not too late. Everybody I talk to that's in the field of this type of technology tells me it's too late. The reason being is that they were doing the same thing in my grandmother's generation, not with the electronic harassment, okay, the psychotronics and all the various weapons and information technology. They were injecting, in my grandparents' generation, which was post-World War II, they were injecting them with all sorts of radiation, plutonium and, all kind of things, 90 times the normal dosage that a person should get. At that time, that generation was screaming out in nursing homes and hospitals that were working in collusion with the government, especially the Department of Energy. This was called the Department of Energy experiments. And what was going on there was that they were conducting these experiments to see how an individual, a human body, would react to all sorts of radiation. Okay, and even though they were screaming out, and they didn't scream out for 1 or 2 days or 1 month or 2 years or 10 years, this went on for 30 years. It went on from the 40s until the 70s, until the government, our senators and our congressmen, backs were against the wall. They had to say something. They had to do something. And this is when they exposed this research project by the Department of Energy. Okay, and when that person came out, who came out, and she said they thought that they were doing the right thing, okay, by killing some 500,000 people. See, the people, they look at they say, well, the experiment that was conducted was somewhere in the neighborhood of 500,000 people. But when they finally settled the lawsuit, they only found one person, okay, that was part of the experiment, okay. They found 11 families of the victims, okay. But they never talked about the other 500,000 people, what happened to them. They literally wiped out 500,000 people. In fact, it was to the point where the Government Accounting Agency, the GAO, said that that it was a lot more than 500,000, but they just stopped it at 500,000. My point is that they're continuing these same experiments because we don't put a stop to it. We don't put a stop to it in the United States of America. We outnumber them, in a huge amount, but nobody's doing anything. We let our legislators, our congressmen and our senators, get away with things that should not be happening. They make up laws overnight. They vote on them at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when everybody's sleeping. Okay, and they think that we're just, that we're just ignorant. Dave, but the bottom line is that it's still going on.
Yes, I have a question. Oh, sorry, Dave. Go ahead. And then I have a question for you. Finish your thought. I have a question after. Go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Okay. The question is, first of all, what you're saying, it is nothing but the truth, because you can find out the declassified documents. And, even an immigrant like myself with a kind of a poor grammar and sometimes terrible accent, I was able to find out that the last 20 years, okay, let's say 40, but doesn't matter. The U.S. government, since the 50s, there are so many declassified documents of completely, I say criminal, because when somebody's doing chemical or bioweapons or germ warfare experiments on a civilian population without their consent, for me, that's criminal. So you can find out, any one of us can find out hundreds of cases, at least the last 50 years, of documented test of very dangerous substances. In this case, could be biological, also could be also chemical, on the population. And they said the next 20 years, the military will conduct more than 240 germ warfare tests over populated areas. So this is something that it is so out there. But my question for you is, why you think they're doing this to us? After all, they're supposed to be our people. Why you think the military-industrial complex, in this case, that President Eisenhower warned us so much, why you think they want to kill us, or at least the risk in our lives?
Well, I talked to a physicist by the name of Dr. Henry Nichols, and I asked him the same question, okay? Anytime you have a research project, okay, they usually last somewhere around 30 years. Maybe a little more, maybe a little less. But he told me, he says, remember this. He says, testing strength and consistency of control over time. Testing strength and consistency of control over time. Now, this electronic harassment, okay, is just a part, okay, of a much larger piece of a puzzle. In other words, I call it information technology, I call it information weapons, I call it information warfare. There are many, I could write volumes on this stuff, but I just want to just give you a brief rundown, okay?
Okay.
Just testing the strength and consistency of control over time, okay? This information technology is what Dennis Kucinich, okay, he was the former congressman from Ohio, he proposed a bill, H.R. OR 2977. He proposed it, but it was killed. It was shot down. Okay, and it's shot down for a reason. The same way Senator John Glenn, he proposed a bill. Okay, for requesting consent forms for anybody who's being researched on. Now, these old documents, like the directive, the Department of Defense Directive 5240-1-R. Okay, this is an old directive. This directive goes way back to December of 1982. They were telling people then that they have the right, okay, to experiment on you, and you really don't have anything to say about it, okay? And I'm going to read just a quick piece of this, okay?
Yes.
And I got to pull it up on my computer here. It says, experimentation is conducted on behalf of the Department of Defense intelligence component, okay? If it's conducted under contract or a component or another DOD component, for a benefit of intelligence component or at a request of such component, regardless of the existence of contractual relationship. Experimentation is this context means any research or testing activity involving human subjects, those considered unwitting, those targeted for surveillance, and those charged with a crime that may expose such subjects to the possibility of permanent or temporary injury, including physical or psychological damage and damage to the reputation of such persons. Okay, keep that in mind. In other words, they're going to get you, and they're going to come at you, you're going to come at your family from every direction, including physical or psychological damage and damage to the reputation of such persons, beyond the risk of injury to which such subjects are ordinarily exposed in their daily lives. Now, you don't go out in your daily life and you're not exposed to what they're talking about in this directive, okay? At the bottom of the directive, it says, experimentation on human subjects conducted by or on behalf of a Department of Defense intelligence component may be undertaken only with the informed consent of the subject in accordance with guidelines issued by the Department of Health and Human Services, setting out conditions that safeguard the welfare of such subjects. Now, if that were true, okay, Senator John Glenn, before he retired from the Senate, he would not have proposed a bill, S-193, which in essence said that you have to have a consent form before you can do research on an individual, a human being. Okay, it wouldn't have been necessary if this were true. Okay, but what happens here, Luca, is that when you start talking about hearing voices, okay, and that's another one, hearing voices. It's called V2K. I personally don't like V2K. In other words, voice to skull, okay? I don't like that terminology, but this is what V2K is, and it can be found out in the, excuse me, they're messing with my throat right now, and by the way, I am being victimized for the last 32 years, okay, 11 months and 11 days as of today. This has been going on in my life. But I'm going to get through this. We're going to talk about this. V2K, voice to skull, okay? There's a patent number from the U.S. Patent Office. It's U.S. patent number 4877027. Okay? Now, you just plug that into the, U.S. Patent Office, and they'll explain the V2K thing. At some point in time, they're going to shut all this down. So whoever is interested in the slightest, they should put these things down and go to and get this information while they can, because this is proof positive right here. And I'm not just talking about this to make my mouth make a noise. I have talked to former CIA, Mark Phillips. I talked to him. I've talked with Ted Gunderson, who was a former senior special agent in charge of the FBI. I have a friend right here in Buffalo, New York, who worked for the Erie County Sheriff Department, and he told me that they have all these technologies, some or all of these technologies, in the Sheriff Departments from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast, okay? and it's all about the software. Some have all the software, some don't have all the software. In other words, if you were to, you might be hit with V2K, okay? If the software enables you to get into that system, fine. If it enables you to get into the acoustic end of it, fine. If it enables you to get into the microwaves, fine. Infrasound, kinetics, all these weapons, they're all weapons, and they will kill you. This is a big thing right now, see? These information technology specialists, as they're called, once they're trained, okay, while they're being trained, if they mess up, okay, and don't do the right thing, they can easily kill you. They can easily make you commit suicide, okay? They can make you do, in other words, I don't call it mind control, Luca. I call it manipulation. This is what former Congressman Dennis Kucinich called it, manipulating a person, okay? Now, let me explain something to you. When they have you, okay, in, say that you're in a county building. Okay, I have to back up just a minute.
Okay.
This technology, okay, it's been given over. I have some information here. It was in the Washington Post. It was in the Washington Times. Okay, it was in a directive by the National Institute of Justice. Okay, in 1993, March of 1993. I have this information right in front of me here, but I'm trying to collect my thoughts because of the fact I want to cover so much, and I've only got a little bit of time. But I thank you for the time that you are giving Ken and me tonight. But the bottom line is that Janet Reno and then Secretary of Defense John Deutsch signed an agreement, okay, that stipulated that they would share these technologies of weapons of warfare, okay, with local law enforcement, okay, more specifically sheriff departments, okay, because sheriff departments run the county. They run the county. You got some 3,007 counties, and each county in the United States of America is represented by a sheriff. That sheriff is responsible, okay, for every citizen in their county. Make no mistake about it. In other words, they are getting information. I'm going to explain to you how they get that information, okay? They get this information, okay, through extremely low frequency. Now, you can pull, extremely low frequency up on the bill by Dennis Kucinich, HR 2977. They talk about ELF, extremely low frequency. And the reason for that is that your brain operates on a very extremely low frequency. And the way Ted Gunderson explained it to me, he explained this to me in June of 2006. Okay, when I sat down with him in Washington, D.C., because we rallied down there in 206. He explained it, okay, by saying, I don't want you to get analytical, David, okay, because, see, these guys that invented this technology decades ago, okay, these guys are smart. The bottom line is that you don't have to get analytical. I just want to give you a simple illustration and just go with it. He explained it to me like, say you're in your in your car, and you turn your radio on and you want to get to your favorite radio broadcast. So you're tuning in your favorite radio station. Now, when you establish resonance, once you establish resonance, you have your favorite radio station. I don't know what your car, maybe not, but in new cars, you can just push a button and lock that station in. Basically, just lock it in. So the next time you come back to your car, you can turn your radio on, you can hit the button, and you'll have your favorite radio station. This is the basics, okay, of what's going on. They are transmitting an extremely low frequency that's compatible from the sheriff departments around the country. I'm going to use the sheriff departments, but local law enforcement has it, the state has it, the feds have it, but I'm going to talk at the county level because this is where I deal with the individuals at the county level. These individuals have to be exposed. These individuals are the ones that have been doing most of the damage, okay? And we have good sheriffs, which far outnumber the bad sheriffs because, see, the bad sheriffs are making a great deal of money. I mean, millions and millions and millions of dollars. But the good sheriffs won't talk about it, you see, because of the fact that they feel that these other sheriff departments have done so much vile acts as reprehensible. It's appalling what's happened here, but they don't want to talk about it, because I talked to my friend right here in Buffalo, New York, who was a deputy sheriff for 32 years. He said, yes, we have it, and the other surrounding counties have it too. In other words, we have 62 counties in New York State, and the surrounding counties have the same technology. That's the network. They've linked, they've cross-linked, and this is what it's all about. But the bottom line is, once they emit this extremely low frequency, this technology is omnidirectional. You can lock or you can lock into a whole region of people, okay? And once they do this, they lock you in. And at that time, they're locking into your visual cortex, and they're locking into your auditory cortex. This is where we get the V2K. In other words, they can drive you crazy, okay, talking to you. In fact, General Parole, back in the 40s, he said that they believed they were working on an experiment where they could talk to a person 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, in order to drive this person insane, basically, or to kill him. They believed that they could actually, at some point, the person would die, but just from talking, for 24 hours a day. Cameron, you talked about Cameron a little while ago. Dr. Cameron, in the Montreal 9, he did the same thing. Continual tapes all the time. The Montreal 9, of course, they were exposed by a team of lawyers, Ryle, Lichtman, Turner, and Levy. More specifically, Levy, he was on his deathbed. He decided to pick up the case, but he wasn't able to carry forth on the case. What he did was he turned it over to his paralegal, who did most of the running around, and proved that, yes, it did happen. The Montreal hospitals and nursing homes were working in collusion with the CIA, okay, and it all came out, okay. And so Montreal 9, they got $700,000, okay, for all that torture, okay. Now we're talking something different. We're talking information technology. We're talking information technology that is being used, okay, to actually encase an entire county after county after county, some 3,077 counties, and this is just not here in the United States. It's going out across the globe. Okay, this is everywhere. Okay, and you got people that are good, that want to speak out, but they're afraid. Once they start speaking out, okay, they're tortured. They're tortured, okay? The same way I've been tortured, the same way Ken's been tortured, the same way. We got 9,000 people on a list that have signed the list, okay, stating that this is going on. And they haven't signed any consent forms, okay? They never signed the consent form on me. And these other people, these other 9,000 plus people, okay, and there's like tens of thousands of people. But these people are scared. You cannot be scared, Luca. You have to speak up. You have to stand for the truth, even if you're the only one standing. Martin Luther King said, it's not the appalling, it's not the, I'm trying to think of the exact words that he used, but he says, these people, the bad people, okay, this is not about the bad people, talking and speaking up. He says it's the appalling silence of the good people. The good people that know about this aren't doing anything whatsoever.
Exactly.
Okay? Just like
Dave,
in the Montreal 9, just like in MK Ultra,
Dave,
just like, in the Department of Energy experiment.
Let me stop you 1 second. 1 second only, Dave. I want to interact 1 second, because the listeners that are coming out, probably right now, they're out of the blue, they're turning the radio, say, what's going on here? What we're talking about here, guys, it's about facts, evidence that there is a science, there is a technology, unfortunately used for very nefarious purposes that can control the mind of the individuals, and they can start to, and this is all proved and patented. I mean, there's so much evidence out there. They can start to project sounds, messages, also harassment in your brain from a distance. And it's been proven that it's been used by organizations that's supposed to work for the government, but I believe at this point they don't belong anymore to this government, to harass political dissidents, to assassinate, to create patsies. And the reason why this is so important, because unfortunately I really believe that is this not more used by just for, let's say, I don't even want to call it legit, because this is very terrible weapon, but let's say in war, you use things that you want to use for winning the war. Now the war, it's on us, the American people, and also people from around the world. So I think this is an instrument that they already been using it the last at least 40 years to subdue the population and to make them somehow docile slaves. Now, talking about these beaming voices, talking about these, patents, because I see more and more evidence that this is almost all technology. I mean, it's out there, of course. Just to be sure I got it down right, they can somehow find your person. Everybody has a different emission of let's say, wave, right? I mean, my body is different from yours. My brain waves is different from yours. Like there is a signature. Am I right or wrong, Dave?
Very, very close, though. It's very close, but they have the technology, okay? It's so intricate, okay? It's so fine-tuned that, that they can lock in anybody, you, me, anybody, and it's omnidirectional. That's very, very important because they talked about this on CBS in 1996 on the 60 Minutes, okay? And they explained a lot of stuff. Okay, we have to weed through, okay, the junk, okay, if you ever see that video, Shoot Not to Kill, CBS, 60 Minutes, okay?
Wow.
Steve Clark anchored that particular episode, okay? Yes, and to answer your question, okay, this V2K, you're talking about V2K, voice to skull, once they lock that, is extremely low frequency. Once they lock in, okay, they not only can lock into your auditory cortex, they can lock into your visual cortex. Now, John St. Clair Acquis, whom I spoke to in 1992 when he came against the NSA, told me emphatically, it says right here, without any contact with the subject, remote neural monitoring can map out electrical activity from the visual cortex of a subject's brain and show images from the subject's brain on a video monitor.
Wow.
NSA operatives see what the surveillance subject's eyes are seeing. Visual memory can also be seen. Our remote neural monitoring can send images direct to the visual cortex, bypassing the eyes and the optic nerves. NSA operatives can use this surreptitiously to put images into a surveillance subject's brain while they are in REM sleep, okay, for brain programming purposes. While a person is sleeping, they can do this.
Dave, 1 second.
Dave, let me say something here because Luke asked a question on that.
I was going to ask to Ken. Go ahead, Ken.
Look, they can take one person out of 10,000. You can have 10,000 people out on the street, and they can hit one person, and nobody else around them will hear it. That's what's so dangerous about it. Now, that person goes and tells their family, their loved ones, that they're hearing voices. First thing they do, they take them to a psychiatrist. Then they start drugging them. They put them in a mental ward to be more experimented on. That's the danger of this technology. And also, on the DOD directive, you can go to gmn10.com. And I got the whole article. It's like 123 pages that every American could be experimented on. Now I'll let you get back to Dave.
Dave, let me ask something because I wanted to ask something to Ken. And I have my own answer. I have my own opinion, but I'd like to ask you guys. We were talking a little bit before, but I would like to go more specific. Why and who exactly you think is doing this to us? Because the plan, it is not good. This is not about to have a special weapon to use in case for national emergency or national security. This is about use this weapon against good people, the American people, and any other people, civilians around the world. Who is behind and why? What is their final goal? Ken.
If you're asking me, I think it's not about the money, Luca. It's about the total control of the population. And I'm not just talking about total control of the population of the United States, but that is the biggest goal. but it's total control of every country to be under one government. That's what I think it's all about.
And you, Dave, what do you think?
Oh, I agree with what he says, but right now, it's all about the corporations. It is about money right now because they're making huge sums of money. Okay, we have to understand this is very, very deep here. Okay, let me give you an example. Okay. We have millionaires and billionaires right now. Okay, a lot of this research goes on in prisons and institutions and hospitals and all county hospitals. Okay, a lot of this experimentation is going on. Okay, now if you take the correctional system, you have millionaires and billionaires. Okay, working the system with this technology. Okay, now you put these individuals in prison. Now they're working before they even get to prison. They're manipulated into copping out, okay, to a crime sometimes that they didn't even commit. Okay, we have heard about all these individuals running into problems like Chandra Bland and a lot of individuals. It's crazy. But the bottom line is once you get into prison, these millionaires and billionaires are building prisons by the hundreds. Okay, by the hundreds, and it falls under one of the systems that's being managed by Corrections Corporation of America. Now, these individuals are on the stock market. They're in the stock exchange. Okay, you can look it up right now, and you can see where these individuals, just at this end, okay, as far as the corrections, they are manipulating all these people. Okay, now you can condemn a lot of people for saying, well, they're using sweatshops in Thailand and Indonesia and these third world countries, but we're doing the same thing right here. Okay, while they're making millions of dollars on the stock exchange. Okay, right now I think it's at $27 or $28 a share. This is Corrections Corporation of America.
We're talking, Dave.
Okay.
Let me stop you 1 second. We're talking about the private prison system, correct?
We're talking about individuals who are building prisons and allowing the county, the state, and the feds, okay, to fill them up.
Yes, but my point is now the real situation is that the state, it is no more managing and administering the prison system, but they are private corporations. That's the scary thing, that they are building this prison, they are managing these prisons, and then, of course, they lobby the legislations to create more laws to put more people in jail because they need to keep pretty much the 95% expectancies full prison. Otherwise, they're going to sue the state. So you think that's part of the people behind for this program?
Most definitely. This is all part of it. I'm just giving you a little piece of a puzzle.
Okay.
A much larger puzzle. Okay.
Now,
this is just one little piece. Okay, but I just threw that in there because of the fact that it's so widespread right now at this control mechanism. They're out to control the entire United States. They're out to control the whole globe, okay, of people. And, I have dealt with Germany and France and Australia. I've listened to all these people. For 32 years plus, I've talked to these people from all parts of the globe, and they're all saying the same thing.
Dave,
okay?
Dave, let me stop you 1 second. Let me stop you 1 second. I have so many questions I want to ask you. First of all, when did you find out that you were a person of interest, at least you were targeted by this technology?
When did I find out?
Yeah.
I found out in April of 1983, okay? I was taken into custody on a sundry, it was some sundry items, like artwork, okay? And I was placed in this institution, and when I walked in there, within just a few hours, I had blurred vision, okay? I had my head was bleeding, okay? I couldn't figure out why I was bleeding. I went to the bathroom and I was urinating blood, okay? I had bruises all around my kidneys, okay? You could see them right, and there's nobody around me. Do you understand what I'm saying?
How old you were then?
How old was I?
Yeah.
I was 35.
Okay. Now my question is, I believe completely in this technology. Okay, this is not about belief; it's about evidence. It's out there. I also want to say there are also some medical conditions. There are also some lot of things. So everything can be possible. But you, out of the blue, to find out that you were part of this program, you must have some knowledge. At the time, there was no internet. How you think that you come out with the conclusion that say, okay, I think I am part of a government program that they're trying to manipulate my brain? How did you get that?
I used to work for IBM.
Okay.
Okay. I used to work for IBM, and while I was at IBM, my brother-in-law, okay, he was in research for IBM. In other words, they worked on a lot of government contracts. He worked on things, man, that now, like in other words, they developed silicon resistors. So you could take a silicon resistor, you could pull a hair out of your head, and you could look at it, hold it up to the light, and the silicon resistor was 1,000 times thinner than a human hair.
Wow.
Okay, but yet they're able to put this type of technology into implants and stuff like that. But my thing now is that they don't need implants, okay? I mean, a lot of people have implants, okay, but they don't even need implants anymore. And this is why I wanted to explain once they lock you in the auditory and the visual cortex. So what goes on? I just wanted to explain that at some point. But go on with your question, Luca.
Yes, and also another thing, Ken, since you're there, I'd like to ask you, when did you find out that you were, according to your knowledge, part of this program? Why, Ken?
Yes, back in 1979.
And how did you, I mean, even you, there was no internet, there weren't books about this stuff. I mean, something must have told you to look in the right direction. How did you get that?
Yeah. Well, actually, Luca, I started getting what they call the gang-stalking, following you around and making it obvious.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so I knew then there's something wrong. So a few years later, doing it, we did first got the internet. I pulled it up, and that's when I found it.
Okay, and you guys, both of you, I mean, how you think they are selecting their praise? I mean, maybe for political activism, or maybe just you fit some sort of body type criteria. Must be some sort of a pattern. What do you think, David? How and why did they find people like you?
Just snatching bodies. They're just snatching bodies. They don't care who you are. I have friends that are millionaires. I have friends that are dirt poor. I have people that I've interviewed. I interviewed a state senator, David Friedland. Okay, he was a New Jersey senator. Okay, who got caught for stealing. He was union funds. Okay.
Okay.
And he went. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm listening.
Okay, he got caught once, and he took a trip. He got the money. He stole the money. He went to the islands, okay, the Caribbean, and his friends. He staged his death, okay, a scuba diving accident. His friends said he's dead. He's dead. He's dead. The FBI said no, he's not dead, and we're still looking for him. A year to the day. 1 year to the day, they arrested him. They put him in court. He was convicted. Okay, and the judge asked the FBI spokesman, how did you know that Senator David Friedland, okay, was not dead? And they said, we had him on the Byman-Keenan KH-11 satellite.
Wow.
Now, anybody knows that the Byman-Keenan KH-11 satellite was, in the paper, they said it was a spy satellite. Nobody said anything. They were talking about China and Russia and all these places. Nobody said that they were spying on U.S. citizens.
Wow. Question
okay.
now. It must be a way, I mean, I hope so. Meanwhile, we try to share this information with the majority of people, at least enough people that we can expose, we must defend ourselves, because this is very dangerous. They can pretty much try to make you, first of all, drive you crazy, and more important, also completely shape your brain, or almost hypnotize you and make you do things or say things that you don't want. So this is very much, is that now they're doing on small scale what I really believe they want to do to all humanity, to create this world global government of zombies that with technology, the technocratic dictatorship, they can pretty much manipulate the rest of humanity with just few, computers out there. Now, what can we do, if there is anything we can do, to try to stop this sort of microwaves or whatever waves that I know there are? Normally, there are microwaves that they can try to reach our brain. How can we shield ourselves, for example, in our homes? Is there a way?
Well, quite frankly, nobody, the people that I know, unless they're even millionaires, okay, you to get the material, okay, there was one sure source, okay, that I know that would probably cut down the shielding process to almost zero, okay. I have a book here that I have to go get it. Can you talk for just a second?
Yeah, by the way, every time you talk, every 5 minutes, there is a big beep. I don't know if you, Dave, you're hearing that. Can you hear the beep?
I'm hearing it, Luke. I thought maybe it's from your end.
No, it's not my hand, so it's not Ken's hand. Must be on your hand. Normally, this beep, just to let you know, listeners, I got these beeps when I interview interesting people. Like, for example, William Binney, last year, or other interesting interviews, the Bundys last year, or things like that. And I realized that normally, according to the knowledge and research I did, they want to give you a message that they are recording what you're saying. And when I say they, in this case, the agencies. And I hope they're doing a good recording. And I hope they hear very well. We are waking up, okay? That's my point.
Okay.
So... continue.
Yes, you were talking about shielding, Luca.
Yeah, okay. Shielding. How can we shield?
I walked into a bunker. Okay, this was years ago, back in 1993. I walked into a bunker that was completely made of lead bricks. Okay.
Wow.
Now, these lead bricks, they come by 2 inch, by 4 inch, by 6 inch, which each one weighs 19.8 pounds.
My God.
They also have a lead brick 2x4 by 8. Okay, in other words, 2 inches by 4 inches by 8 inches, and these weigh 26 pounds. 26.4 pounds. Okay. Now, if you can imagine a bunker, a good-sized bunker, say maybe the size of a 10 by 12 room. Okay. Or a 12 by 12 room, okay? Ceiling, walls, floor, door, everything, okay? When they shut that door, I'm telling you that you feel like $1 million. At the time, I was being targeted so hard, tinnitus, okay, at varying decibels, and listening to artificial tinnitus for 32 years, 11 months, and 11 days as of today.
Wow.
Okay, and I'm telling you, that in order, I have no shielding because I'm married, okay? I don't go into, any of these Faraday cages or any kind of aluminum hats and all this stuff. I just take the beating. Wow. I just take the beating.
Dave,
okay?
Let me stop you 1 second. Time, you got run so fast, my gosh. Listen, listeners, what we're talking about here probably is one of the most important topic. I know that it's so big, and almost so incredible to believe, but this is exactly what they do. Biggest the lie, and more they believe that you will believe. Okay, guys, just to let you know, this has been edited. There was like about probably completely blackout, computer froze, and the phone line went down. So I was able to save this recording, because now I'm running with the backup computers when I do these interviews. And Ken, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here, Luca.
Yeah, it was strange. I'm telling you, I was listening. Every 5 minutes there was a beep on David's line. And then out of the blue, like a 15-minute 52 or whatever, was pretty much, boom, complete. No more sound. You were gone. I don't know, maybe a coincidence, but strange. It always happens when we have interesting interviews. The time is short. I want to give you the last floor. Last time to say pretty much if there is a website where people can find out evidence and learn more about this technology to control the minds of human beings by the government.
I got a real good one because it's got the DOD Directive 5240-1-R.
Okay, go ahead.
And every American should read that. That's GMN, Ken, GMN.com.
Very good.
GM, I don't know if some people don't understand me because I got an accent, but GMN.com.
Okay, and you know what? You send me that email with exact spelling. I will post it on the lovegunsfreedom.com. I really believe this is a very important topic because now, for example, they can do on a small scale crazy things on us, or at least they can make us look crazy. And don't get me wrong, there are also people that they are crazy, okay? Still there are people. But the point is now we don't really know when somebody's crazy and when somebody's being controlled and they made them crazy. For political assassination, for any type of mind control purposes, they're doing that. And I really believe you're right. Their final goal, after they tested on a selected group of people, they will try to apply this technology to the rest of humanity, to control humanity, to enslave humanity, so they will be part of this global government without even resisting, without even trying to fight back. That's what I really believe what is their final purpose. And also, of course, for the idea and agenda of global depopulation, they will use that too. That's another way they can completely start to kill us, or we kill ourselves. So no, just for the records, Ken, you pretty much, you're happy with your life, even with your problems, but you're never going to commit suicide, right? You don't want to kill yourself.
Oh, no, absolutely not. But you know, Nick Vivich, Begich, he said when they finally turn this technology on everybody, you'll see mass suicide. Because people's not going to know what hit them, and they're going to be, and they tell the target individuals now in our group, commit suicide, and they play it over and over in their head.
Wow.
So Nick said it's going to be very dangerous when they finally turn this technology on everybody.
That's why I say you must find our own faith, regardless whatever you believe, because we must find the family, we must find the love. That's the weapons that we must use against these bastards. Listen again, I want to thank you. Please, guys, don't go away. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna, ready for our number 2, and it's all about guns and Second Amendment.
He's a songwriter, a poet, a rifleman.
I'm not afraid.
And a constitutional activist.
I'm not afraid.
Italian by birth.
I'm not afraid.
American by choice. Gianluca Zanna.
I'm not afraid.
And his new CD, Love, Guns, and Freedom. 16 powerful songs on one CD from the heart of a patriot. For download or to order the CD, go to www.lovegunsfreedom.com. That's www.lovegunsfreedom.com. Lyrics for your mind, music for your heart.
You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.FM Network.